Now we finished up our hike in Bell Acres, and we're coming east into Ohio. Tucked in a bow in Little Beaver Creek is a group of tiny houses, and you can reserve one for the night. So I got up in the morning and I took a walk on their trail. You'll hear a lot of winter coat sounds. I had to bundle up this morning. It's the type of weather that can make you feel pretty uncomfortable unless you're dressed just perfectly and you keep moving fast. That's why my steps are going a little bit faster than they usually do. Thanks for coming along this morning. I'd say there were about 30 tiny houses here. Each one has a little mound in between it and its neighbor, with some spruce trees planted on it. The grounds are flat on top of this hill. You're nestled into this beautiful pine forest. These trees were planted quite a while ago. Oh, there's the morning sun. The sign points out that this is a walking trail, just in case you weren't aware of that. And on the right, you can see these houses are all lined up so that those giant windows look out into the forest. Or they look at this person walking. But we'll be down in the ravine and you'll see the view that they have. As I was walking along the trail, I was doing some thinking, partly so that my brain didn't freeze. And it became apparent that this trail was once more than just a walking trail. Did some asking around later. Here I'm looking to see if this was chewed off by a porcupine, because of an article I read last night in the tiny house about porcupines. And when do I ever sit down and read an entire magazine except when I'm at a tiny house? True story. Well, that was just a question, but the story was the tiny house was relaxing enough. I can't hear any water at all. That I read a whole magazine. Your woodpecker off to the left. Really nice valley, flat spot in front of me. Ice all the way across. I think if you commissioned a study in which you track the ratio of woodpecker sounds to woodpecker sightings, it'd be well below 1. Or no, well, above 1. Whatever. We veered off of the more substantial trail on the left. We're going to take this foot trail for a while. Give us a better view of the creek. And you really feel nestled in down here. You have more of the pines on your left. An incredible hill on the right. The portion of the trail that followed the creek a little closer rejoins the trail that looks like it was on a road. This ridge follows the trail, almost makes it look like it was something important before. Not that it's not important now. No pine forest continues in rows. And the tiny houses are up on the ridge to the left. Little did my current self know that my future self was going to already say something about those pine trees. It's too late now. If you listen really carefully, maybe with some $1,000 Apple headphones, you can hear that the footsteps, kind of a high-pitched, crunchy sound, because it's so cold. I love the way I keep getting that, we'll call it a distortion from the sun, a lens flare. I think my $1 million idea is going to be contact lenses that can give you that same effect. How cool would that be to wake up in the morning, walk outside just to see that happen? Sometimes it feels like in the hilly country there's two sunrises. One is when it starts to get light, but the other one is when the sun starts to come over the hills. So this cut that I just walked through will give you some idea of this ridge that runs along the road. I did a good deed here. I'm so great. It was probably lathered in COVID-19. You can see the tiny house is still up to the left. There's a flat meadow in front of me. I'm guessing it's a swamp in the spring, although I'm not sure. These eastern hemlocks occur naturally in some areas around here. They're different than the pines on the left. There are some hardwoods on this ridge that goes along the roadbed that we're on, but inside there's still only pine trees. Yeah, I don't know about that. You'll see some pretty interesting things as we go along here. And I'll let you enjoy some of them in silence. We did ask about what this area used to be. More recently, it was another campground up top. And before that, it was a quarry. According to a person in a red pickup truck. Works for me. It looks like the swamp's deep enough to freeze over here. And we're gonna walk over that ridge that's been following the trail on the right. Enter into an area with a different feeling. I thought about finding out a little bit more about this area. An old culvert running under the road. But sometimes part of the fun is just wondering what it used to be. If you know what this is, you can leave a comment in the video. I'm pretty sure it was built by aliens. Or that the Native Americans invented cranes and then just hid them before the Europeans showed up. There's the pond off to the right. This ridge had to have been built up at one point in time. Just enough room to walk on. Looks like this trail heads back up to the tiny houses. We're gonna keep going. And now you know why that little detour is shown on the GPS path. Makes you wonder what was in there. That was a lock, a road, a railroad, aliens. There were a few rocks out on the ice. No child can pass up a pond without throwing a rock in it. It makes you wonder why they're not all just filled up with rocks after a few years. Here's a theory on what that ridge was about a half mile back. Kind of what I'm walking on now. Maybe the pond filled up this entire valley at one point, and that's what kept the water back. Let's go out. Must be an outlet somewhere. It's coming in through this little creek. And now we'll come back out of the valley. And up on top is the plateau, the flat area, where there's a few structures. and then all the tiny houses. It's like water doesn't think that flat trails should exist on a hillside. You can see it's trying to wash this one away. At this point, you come out of wondering about the beauty of nature around you and just start being curious about what it's like to be an innkeeper at a group of tiny houses, right? You get to live in the woods, but still have a good job. And we're back to the area that the tiny houses encircle. But this is what it feels like to drive in. They're still hidden in the woods, tucked into farm country in eastern Ohio. If you don't want a set of steps running up to your tiny house, the one right in front of me has a accessible ramp. Someone already has a fire going. And this is about 7 in the morning. Not too early, but so we're arriving back at where we started to where my car is plugged in. Thanks for coming along with me today. We're going to take more walks like this if you'd like to join me. They'll be on this channel. If you subscribe, I'll see you next time.